Welcome to another edition of Higher Ed Live, the live weekly web show about the world of higher education, where we are all about digital development and professional empowerment. Not sure if you can hear that, but that's my dog in the background going absolutely crazy because it's beautiful here in LA. All the windows are open. It is sunny and people are outside. So that's the way life is in Southern California. As you guys know, I am your host, Seth Odell, here with you every week, and I have to give a quick plug to our wonderful sponsors that make Higher Ed Live possible. First off, out of the gate, gotta say thank you to Integral. Higher Ed Live is sponsored by Integral. They're the creators of the Schools app on Facebook. Be sure to check out their webinar series about how they can help you leverage Facebook to increase yield and retention. That happens this Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm going to be sending out a tweet from Higher Ed Live, our Twitter account. That's going to have a link if you guys want to sign up and check out that webinar series. It's good stuff if you're interested. Next, got to say, we got another sponsor to bring to the Higher Ed Live family. Big welcome and thank you to the one and only Omni Update. Omni Update is the leading web content management system provider for higher education. The company's web CMS OU Campus is secure and scalable with great tools and features, deployment flexibility, and an awesome user community. In fact, it was the highest ranked CMS in customer satisfaction in a 2010 EDU Guru survey. So if you need a CMS, check it out, guys. OmniUpdate.com. Awesome group of people over at Omni Update as well as Integral. I'll send out tweets to both of those if you guys are interested in any of their services. And you know the rules, guys. Higher Ed Live is the hashtag. Use it. Get questions, comments, anything else you got out there today. I really would love to hear what you think. This is a big topic today. As you guys know, we are talking about YouTube EDU. It's the educational portion of YouTube, and we're talking specifically about how Higher Ed Live has failed YouTube EDU, and YouTube has sort of failed us. And it's a very interesting topic. So right off the bat, I want to introduce our guest, my very good friend, the one and only Mallory Wood. Mallory, how's it going?
Hey, Seth, it's going really well. How are you doing?
I'm great. You know, as I said, it's sunny in California. It's beautiful. I'm drinking my my energy drinks. I'm ready for a great topic. So very excited about it. And again, guys, listen, I want to give a brief background on this topic and why I decided to choose it. Mallory and I were talking probably a month or two ago about YouTube EDU, and I was complaining about some problems that I felt that our industry wasn't really utilizing it properly. And Mallory was kind of coming back at me saying she thought there was some problems on YouTube's end, that they weren't being really supportive. And bottom line, we found that this is a big conversation I think that needs to be had. It's the second largest search engine in the world. It's incredibly popular. And I think a lot of people would agree when you look at it, it's not working at least to the best of its ability. And we're going to talk today. So today is a little different of a Higher Ed Live. It's not as much a how-to or very nitty-gritty details. It's a very much an open-ended conversation. I think it's time. YouTube EDU turned 2 last week, which I'll talk about. It's now time for us to reflect on what we've done with it. And so again, guys, one last time, Higher Ed Live hashtag, please, questions, comments, get them out there. This shows me as much about what you think tonight as us. I'm going to say some things that hopefully Mallory will pull me back from, and maybe you guys can too. Got to have a big conversation. So that's the topic today, but you know how we start every show. How do we start it, Mallory? What do we have? It's the weekly 5. That's right.
5.
It's the weekly 5. 5 stories for you to check out, read, star, think about, do whatever you want to do because these stories are worth reading. So first one up this week is a bit of a doozy. It's that college admissions rates dropped for the class of 2015. This story was obviously out just about everywhere, but Huffington Post put together a pretty interesting, cool little graphic where you could scroll through and see the different admissions rates for different institutions. And the sad and scary thing, guys, is that those numbers are dropping just about everywhere. And so I was talking to Mallory about this earlier, but the thing that's really scary is more and more kids aren't getting into school. Where are they going to go? And I think that's something that both Mallory and I were thinking about is that, the reality is, the Cal State system, which is a state system in California, announced they're enrolling less kids next year, 10,000 less. University of Phoenix announced, that their enrollment is down. Mind you, that's due to federal restrictions and other situations. But bottom line is less kids are going to get access to education. So what are we doing? So that story kind of scares me. I don't know about you, Mallory. It's kind of spooky stuff.
Yeah, I think it's frustrating that we almost perpetuate this idea that dropping admission rates is a good thing because of U.S. World News Report and all sorts of different rankings. And I guess it frustrates me because we kind of tout that a low acceptance rate is a great thing, but our mission is to educate the youth, and we can't do that if we're not accepting them into our institution. And and obviously different schools are at different acceptance rates, but it's really frustrating, and it saddens me, But somebody said it once, and I can't remember who, but they said some school needs to come out and say we're a great place for the B student, and hey, maybe now's the time to make that your marketing plan. If every school is not going to accept anyone but the best, somebody's got to come in and swoop up all the rest.
It did rhyme, but I completely agree with you. I think that it's a huge open-ended question that where these students can get their education from. The president has come out and said that by 2020 he wanted to double the number of students getting degrees from 2010, and I say that's really great to say that, but where are they going to go? And that's a big question probably for another show, but still really interesting article. So let's dive into the next of the Weekly Five. This is just a very interesting story that made the rounds in higher ed this week, which is Virginia Tech was fined $55,000 for failure to timely alert campus community for that 2007 campus shooting that happened. And the fine, to clarify, was actually essentially saying that after the first shooting, as you'll remember, there was an initial shooting on campus, they failed to tell the campus in time and in theory prevent the second shooting. It's a really interesting and tragic story. I mean, on a personal level, the money is not the issue, but I think clearly it's unfortunate that Virginia Tech's getting singled out for this, but it brings up tons of open-ended questions about, what's a campus's response to a crisis, both, by the way, a virtual crisis, an in-person crisis, natural disasters, and it just, again, hammers on the fact that every campus needs to have a dialogue about this. It's not enough to have an actual plan, but everyone that works for you has to know what that plan is. And I think there's a lot of institutions right now that are keeping their response plans close to the vest. And the problem is, do the staff members that need to react know how to do this? And one of the things that we're saying is, alert the campus within, 45 minutes. Well, who physically alerts them? Yes, I understand it's probably a chancellor or a president who signs off on it, but who's pushing the buttons? And the people that are pushing the buttons, know what's going on. So big story. I'll send a link out to that. Worth reading for sure. Next one we got is just, we got to give it out to the one and only Feenan. The man himself did a nice post about essentially whether should higher ed be in the software development business. It was a nice post. I really hope you guys get in there and dive into the comments. It was kind of spurred off something that we've talked about for a while too. I just thought it was a great article. Obviously Feenan's stance was no, we shouldn't be in the software development business for the most part. I got to give a shout out to that post because I thought it was timely and good. But here's the next one, guys. It's not an April Fool's joke. The one and only Snooki got $32,000 to talk at the Rutgers campus recently. And this story came out and was a big controversy. And I thought it was really interesting. Clearly, I got to think they spend their money better. But, Mallory, as you know, the issue is this, that the students have money to bring speakers onto campus. It's allocated to them. They have full control. I guess there's really not much an institution can do if their students want to bring Snooki on campus to talk about, gym tan laundry. Right.
Yeah, I guess, it's a good thing. And coming from having been a student who got to control that student activities fee at her institution, it's, for the most part, the students are responsible with that money. And there's a lot of checks and balances in place and a lot of staff members at the school who have to approve these sort of things. So, somebody approved it. It wasn't just the president of the college on the student side saying, oh, Snooki would be a great person to bring in. So somebody had to approve it, but I have to agree with you, Seth. There's a lot of other, should we say, good role models out there who they could have brought for an equal or perhaps less amount of money.
Yeah, I agree. And again, the story, there's been a lot of flack going out to Rutgers on this, and while I realize they have to sign off on some stuff, I'm sorry, this one's all on the students. If you really think that it's worth that money and that's who you want to hear from while you're getting your education, that's on you, buddy. That's on you, and I don't like it. But that's not an unfortunate April Fool's joke, but what was an April Fool's joke this week, and my last one is just, higher ed homepages went crazy for April 1st. Some really funny ones came out. A bunch of schools kind of got in on it, had some fun. I'm going to just come out and say this, guys. I made a post late on, I think it was Wednesday night, about how much I didn't like April 1st. I thought April 1st and social media is always so annoying. I was trying to be funny and clever. But you know what? These higher ed homepages made me laugh. I thought it was pretty funny. So I'm going to send a link out to a nice little wrap-up that Corinne did over at collegewebeditor.com. And it's just a nice little recap of all the homepages that changed. I thought it was pretty funny. I don't know, Mallory, what do you think? I thought it was worth a laugh. I enjoyed it.
I loved it. My favorite was Beloit College's video. Their super secret of, their year. And it was great. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was definitely a good story. So I like it, guys. That's the weekly 5. Before we dive in, I have something each week where I do the unsolicited shout out of the week. I got 2 this week. One is to the one and only Moonball. Happy birthday. Got to give you a shout out for that. Thanks for always tuning in. And the other big unsolicited shout out goes to meetcontent.com. It is a site that you guys need to follow. It's a must-read new blog aimed at empowering higher education to create and sustain web content that works. And the folks behind it, the one and only Rick Allen, Georgie Cohen. These are folks in higher ed that we know. And guys, all I'm going to tell you is this. At the end of the day, today's conversation about YouTube is going to be about content. Everything at the end of the day in higher ed, for the most part, is about content. Content is the thread that holds everything together, especially on a marketing level, anything web-related. And I'm really excited to see them put a site forward that's focused entirely on really getting good, great, awesome content out there and pushing it forward. So, guys, go read that blog. Please go check it out. I'll send the link out right now with the hashtag. And with that, we are in, guys, to the topic this week. Except one more thing, guys. Sorry, I forgot to tell you. Next week, we have a great show, Student Blogging with Stonehill's Evan Grenier, I think. Mallory will tell me. Grenier. Mallory's going to tell me because, guys, guys, ready for this? This is the higher ed bombshell of the day. Mallory is hosting next week. That's right. I'm pulling her out right now. That's right. I have a scheduling conflict. I can't personally be there, so Mallory is going to step up and is hosting Higher Ed Live. So, Mallory, thank you very much for doing that.
Oh, you're welcome. No big deal. Thanks for asking.
Please tune in next week, guys, and just razz the heck out of Mallory. Just totally bomb the tweet stream. Make her life really difficult. Make it as hard as you can. But really, thank you, Mallory, for agreeing to come on short notice and kind of save my butt and keep the shows coming for you guys. I try my hardest to give every Sunday to this show, and I appreciate those of you that tune in. And thanks again for Mallory for covering. So, guys, we're talking about YouTube EDU today. It's the educational portion of YouTube. Just briefly, if some folks aren't familiar, YouTube EDU turned 2 last week. It's 2 years old. It's the educational section of YouTube. It was built by a guy named Obadiah Greenberg, who's moved on since to Google Apps and Education. And the idea for the site was it was going to be a landing place for educational content, so that colleges and universities around the world, especially based in the U.S. first, but now around the world, could provide educational content and could give it out to the world. There'd be a great portal at youtube.com/edu where folks could find great educational content. That was the backbone of why it was formed. Schools got some cool stuff out of it. If you are a YouTube EDU partner, you become a YouTube partner. You get unlimited upload length, 2 gigabytes for your videos. You get a lot of nice branding features. You can put featured bars on the top of your YouTube page with links built into them. I mean, they just roll out the same kind of partner features that a lot of other companies get if they become an official YouTube partner. So it's really cool. YouTube EDU is a cool thing. I was really excited at UCLA to be one of the first institutions to sign up for it. We were early partners before they actually launched in the initial beta round. It's been really cool to be a part of, and YouTube EDU is pretty awesome. But it's important to mention where they are today and to kind of talk about what's been going on. So to give you an idea, in the past year, not a lot has changed with YouTube EDU. There's not that many more schools signed up. They're still only in, I think, 9 countries. They didn't add any countries this year. And where we are really is we have a site now at youtube.com/edu that has some content that I find a little unfortunate and questionable. It's not really the educational content that YouTube EDU was formed around, and it's not really what they were looking for. So I'm going to talk today with Mallory, pull Mallory on again. This is a more open-ended show, and we're going to talk about YouTube EDU, and we're going to start with a section that I'm calling How Higher Ed Failed YouTube EDU. And I'm going to say some things that is going to make Mallory grimace a little bit, and that's just going to pull me back and probably remind me why I'm a little over-exaggerating. But I want to talk a little bit with Mallory and with you guys about YouTube EDU. So let's talk about why I think we've failed in the past 2 years in using it, and why it's so unfortunate here at the 2nd anniversary to see where we're at and that we haven't really moved forward. And the first reason is I think we put up really bad content. I'll be honest, if you go to youtube.com/edu, I just think the content is not what is meant to be there. When YouTube EDU was formed, it was formed to be an educational portal. I went and I was browsing around the other day, and it was near impossible for me to find actual educational content. So much of it is just marketing videos. It's random athletics videos. It's anything else on campus. And while those videos are fine to go online, that's not why YouTube EDU was formed. And that's a first point I want to start talking about, is that it's bad. It's not educational. And I think I would say that it's not mission focused. So that's my first complaint, Mallory. What do you think? I'm really disappointed with the content that's on YouTube EDU.
All right, and that's Fair enough, Seth. And I have to agree that, when I've browsed YouTube EDU myself, I can't say that I've necessarily found a lot of academic content. However, I'm going to have to play devil's advocate here, especially because I work in a marketing office. YouTube EDU is really only allowing schools to, have one channel. And there are a handful of schools like Harvard and I think you had mentioned maybe USC that have multiple channels because they were early adapters. But for the most part, like Dartmouth only has one school or one YouTube channel up there, and that represents their entire institution. And I think it's important to look at where at most institutions that channel is, who's managing that channel. Chances are it's your marketing department. And while I agree with you, those of us who are marketers need to be more aware of producing academic content that enriches our viewers' lives. I feel like YouTube EDU, because it's putting that entire channel in that space and is trying to get your entire channel to be academic, is in a way trying to tell us at the institutional level how to run our channels. And I find that there's room for all different types of content on these YouTube channels for our institutions, not just academic content, although agreed, that's important to have. I wouldn't call marketing content bad content. It isn't appropriate for YouTube EDU though, but I think that's more of a failure of the way the system is working, not necessarily how we as higher education has failed YouTube EDU.
I think that's it's a fair point. What Mallory is saying, by the way, is if you guys don't know, to be a YouTube EDU partner, first of all, we're going to get into all the crazy restrictions they have and how hard it is. You have to say that you're only going to have one channel for your entire institution. So, for instance, UT Austin can only have one channel. And I will admit that's an example where I think the structure has failed us as an institution, because we are more than just classrooms. We do have athletics. We do have campus life. We have a lot of things going on. And essentially YouTube is saying, if you want to be an educational partner, you're not allowed to represent that stuff. Now, they don't enforce these rules, mind you. So once you become a partner, anything goes, and becoming one is very difficult. We'll talk all about that. But I still want to say one thing. When it comes to the marketing content that I'm seeing, I have to pull a Mark Greenfield a little bit here and question some of the marketing decisions and just say that marketing is so important. But why aren't we marketing the actual education and what we're doing? It's like, I'm saying it's impossible to go on YouTube EDU practically and find videos of someone teaching. And I still think that if you actually market your education and the things that you're teaching and the research you're doing, that's still marketing. People want to see that, and you can do it in an entertaining way. And just so much of the marketing videos, I guess, I get flash mobs, I get music stuff, I get lip dubs, I get it, but I'm not sure that institutions should be spending a ton of their money and time producing all these videos rather than actually think about things on an educational level. I mean, just to give an example, if you type algebra into YouTube EDU, 17 of the top 20 videos are from Khan Academy, which is like one guy and a computer with like a webcam, okay? One guy. I mean, now I figure they have 5 staff. But if Khan Academy can produce 17 videos that are actually educational focused and still do really well, I'm asking, where are the other videos? And again, I'm not saying just classroom videos, but I mean, you can do short form, fun, interesting videos, but again, it goes back to the thing talking about Meet Content, the new blog from Georgie and Rick, is that I'm just looking for content that is both marketing and actually educational. It's, mission-focused marketing. I don't know. I just think that maybe it's a broader thing. I just think in a lot of ways we're still doing it wrong with some of the stuff of our approaches to YouTube. But if people watch it, maybe is it still wrong? I don't know.
Seth, I think you've made a great point that academic content will get viewed. And I think many of us may believe that it won't, that we have to produce these lip dubs or these flash mobs in order to get views on our videos. But, if you can create an entertaining academic related video, it'll get views. The trick is creating an entertaining academic related video. And I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying that it probably takes a little more thought than that lip dub or that flash mob did. And that's where I think, some people probably struggle with, what is an entertaining academic content filled video? And, and I'm not saying that it can't be done. I think it can be, but it takes more time to think about how to do that. And, who knows why we haven't, as a whole in higher ed, thought of those ideas. But
And I will say this, that I shouldn't knock things like lip dub, because those things take a lot of time. These are lip dubs, if you haven't noticed, guys, it's like a lip sync video that's very popular and trendy. Those things take a lot of time. But the reality is, if you look at the videos on YouTube EDU, most of them are just garbage in general. And, ready for this, guys? Nobody's watching. I went ahead and just crunched some very quick numbers, and I want to show you exactly what I found. I found that Missouri State, again, these are randomly selected institutions, Missouri State averages 742 views per video. And if you take out their top 3 videos, which have the majority of their views, they average 560 views per video. 560 views. Do you guys know how many... And guys, when we talk about a view on YouTube, you just mean somebody clicked on it. You don't mean they sat through and they actually watched it or they cared. It's the same thing, in my opinion, as an impression when you're picked up in a newspaper. Like, yeah, okay, someone essentially looked at it. Do you know how many people read, you know, the New York Times, the LA Times, or the Kansas City Star or anything else? A lot more than 560. And this is 560 views, and that's not just them. You know, Marquette averages 1,400 views per video. MIT, by the way, the #1 most academic-focused, ready for this, guys? MIT, the most academic-focused YouTube channel, averages 13,000 views per video, compared to Missouri State at 700, Marquette at 1,400. Now let's look at the next best educational portal for YouTube EDU partners, besides Khan Academy, which I removed because they're not a college or university, so I wanted to stay fair here. The next one was Harvard. Okay, they have over 6,000 views, and they have 13,000 videos. I'm sorry, 13,000 average views per video. And a lot of that's also educational focus. You look at the fact that I think the majority of YouTube EDU videos, when you crunch the numbers, have less than 1,000 views. So it's not even that we're talking about really well-produced marketing videos. We're just like dumping bad content up there. And again, Friedman said this earlier. It's the same thing. Bad content is everywhere. We put bad content everywhere. But I'm just saying, guys, when you're talking about like 600 people average watching your videos, what are you doing? You're doing something wrong. And I think we just need to all look back and think that it's not about hitting one quick viral hit. It's about educational content. I mean, Mark just put out a great link, guys. I'm going to try and retweet it here. There's actual studies showing that students, the #1 content students want is educational. You know, they want to see this stuff. And I just think that that's my only point, that we need to look at the numbers. After 2 years, the numbers are so sad. So sad. And I just hope other folks are looking at the numbers. So that's my thought. But I just think that, but you know, it's not just higher ed. And Mallory, I will say YouTube EDU has failed us. Essentially, when we say that YouTube EDU has failed us, it's that a lot of ways the structure hurts us, that it's set up poorly, and it's not set up in a way to really foster the kind of content that we can put up. Our hands are tied, I guess, is what we would say. So the first one I'll say before I toss it to Mallory, because this is more her world, is YouTube EDU hasn't updated in a year. The directory search doesn't work. They've added 0 countries in the past year, and they don't respond to requests to join in a timely manner. And that kind of hits on the big thing, which is, I mean, Mallory, do you want to talk about joining YouTube EDU? Like, if you wanted to apply to it. Yeah, or not. Like, this is the biggest problem, I would say, is YouTube EDU's failure to really put any resources into making it easy to apply. It's so difficult now to become a partner, even though at the beginning, the floodgates were opened for big-name institutions that were around. Tell me what your thoughts are, and walk through the application process for any folks that aren't familiar with it.
I have a lot of thoughts on this, okay? Basically, the application process is very simple. You more or less just apply. At the bottom, if you scroll to the bottom of the YouTube EDU page, and I want to make sure I'm walking through this correctly, so I'm actually going to do this myself. There used to be a link down here that said apply, and maybe because I'm not on their homepage, I'm not seeing it right. There it is. It's highlighted even. It's like they're calling for you to apply. So you click it, you click into, you know, your location, and it's this super simple application form. So, you know, from when I did this a couple summers ago, I was like, oh, this is great. You know, it's going to take me 30 seconds to fill this out. I'm going to hear back from them. You know, I was thinking a reasonable amount of time would be a few weeks to a couple months, not really knowing how backed up they were. Entering your email address, your username, what department you work at, and then they've got this great little box that says, you know, let us know how you'll be using the channel and what type of content you're going to be providing. So I actually came up with this wonderful, you know, very heartfelt answer of wanting to promote academic content at the college and how we, you know, record our lectures and we get our guest speakers on camera. And I spent more time than I should have on this application, and then, you know, a couple weeks pass by, I hear nothing. A couple months pass by, I hear nothing. Finally, it's 2010, and I get the shortest little email I've ever seen from YouTube saying, sorry, you've been denied. Get more academic content on your YouTube channel, and we'll think about bringing you in next time. So that's incredibly frustrating. I mean, the whole process in and of itself, you know, might only take you 30 seconds, but to not hear back from them in a timely manner is incredibly frustrating. And plus, to be told that, you know, you don't have the content that they're looking for, and you know, and maybe we didn't have the content they were looking for, but I had clearly laid out a plan to get that content. I'm not being motivated to create that academic content when I'm being told that I'm not good enough for YouTube EDU. And that's kind of, you know, I guess maybe I took it more personally than I should have, but you know, it was very, very frustrating. It was very, very frustrating. So I'm not sure where to go from here other than I'm still clearly frustrated by it.
Yeah.
But last year, so I was told in early 2010 that I wasn't good enough, or that my YouTube channel wasn't good enough. And recently I applied again, just for fun, just to see what would happen. And I can't say I've heard back yet. So my application's still sitting out there waiting for YouTube EDU's approval to tell me that my institution's channel is worthy of becoming part of their special little club.
Yeah. And I'm going to completely agree with you here, by the way. The application process is ridiculous. Essentially, YouTube says you have to already produce great academic content in order to go ahead and become a partner. That's a problem for a main reason that a lot of folks start off just putting up full lectures on YouTube. And I'll be the first to say I don't think that's great, but it's not a terrible thing. I mean, offering full lectures definitely works. UCLA has a whole courses channel, by the way, because we were allowed to have multiple channels. Other institutions like MIT put up full courses, and people watch them, totally. Now, I don't think it's the best platform for full educational videos, but it works. But guess what? If you're not a partner, you're limited to 15 minutes. And up until a few months ago, you're limited to 10-minute uploads. So tell me, how are you going to put a course up when you're not allowed to? Because you don't have access. So now you can only put up educational videos that are 15 minutes or less. So your hands are a little tied. And then what happens, though? You sign up for YouTube and you start putting your other athletics videos and your marketing videos and random videos. And then YouTube says they're not academic enough. So I get that your hands are tied. But you can, I will say, make really good academic content that's less than 15 minutes. You don't need that time length, but I will agree the restrictions are pretty tough.
You know, and I think it's so frustrating that that they're trying to restrict your institution to that one channel, but trying to jam pack it with the academic content. And I've already said this, but I think that if you're only going to have one channel, and I personally do believe that depending on the size of your institution, having one channel might be a good idea. It needs to be robust and show, you know, the entire experience of the college, and academics is in there, but so is athletics, and so is student life, and so is the community service projects that your students are doing. And so having, I think, a variety of content makes for a more robust and entertaining channel. I don't think I'm going to, you know, click around a lot if I'm a prospective student, if all I'm getting are, you know, 15 minutes or more of straight lecture. You know, so making those entertaining videos is a really important point, but I think having a diversity of videos is important too. And so I think we're going to talk a little bit about the environment of YouTube EDU that they've built, and I think there's some changes that they could make that could perhaps make it easier for us on the higher ed institution side to be able to produce a diverse amount of content, but still keep it within one channel. Yeah,
and that's a big thing that, you know, I'm going to say this, and let's talk about YouTube EDU Failed Us. YouTube EDU is not set up correctly. It's set up wrong. It's set up wrong. And I don't knock them for doing it. YouTube EDU, so you guys understand, was started as a 20% Google project. If you work at Google, you can spend 20% of your time doing whatever you want. And Obadiah Greenberg did a great thing and spent 20% of his time helping build this for our institution and ultimately for the people that were on YouTube to quickly find educational content. So if that was the goal of it, clearly we have to all agree it failed. Because if you go to youtube.edu, youtube.com/edu, it's hard to find good educational content. So it didn't work. But why didn't it work? And I think it didn't work because the environment is that you can't approach a college or university and say that the only content you have to produce is directly educationally focused. Now, I will say, I think everything should in some level have that as a backbone, but marketing videos have a place. Doing a tour of a dorm room for a prospective student works. You know, athletics videos or videos about campus life, there's a place for that. But there's not technically a place on YouTube. And I really think that it's, to say an institution as a whole has to sign up for YouTube.com/EDU is wrong. So my solution, and what I'm going to send to YouTube, I'm going to be putting together a letter from any suggestions that come from myself or anybody else and sending it over to my contacts there. And this is that YouTube EDU should not mean that every video you put up goes there. It should be an option. This is a very simple solution, guys. Every college university gets a partnership contract so they can put longer videos up if they promise to put up some educational stuff. And for every video that's very educational, actually focused, and actually educational video, there's a little box when you upload it. It says send to youtube.com/EDU, and you say yes. And then it just pulls only the best videos that are directly educational, and it filters them. Because that's what I think YouTube EDU needs, is a filter, and it doesn't exist. And it's unfair to ask us to only be producing directly educational content. I don't think that is fair. So that's my thought on the environment.
I think this is an excellent idea, because now, as someone who's producing video for my institution, I have the ability to produce whatever type of videos I want. And when I get that excellent academic related video, I can click off that box and it'll get sent there. And, as Mark said in the Twitters, students want to see that academic content. They don't have the time, and they don't probably want to take the time to have to sift through what is currently YouTube EDU, because, as we've already pointed out, very little of that content is actually academic related. So it's going to help us from the higher ed side if that type of model were adopted, but it's going to help the viewers too, because they're going there for that type of content, and right now they're not getting it. So I could imagine that would be incredibly frustrating if you're a viewer, whether you're 17 years old or 67 years old, and you're looking for that academic content there, you're just not getting it right now. And this is a way to ensure that that's all you'll be getting.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think it works. I think it makes sense, but we're going to see if it happens. I'm going to really reach out to them and try and tell them how I think we can try and fix this, and because it makes sense. I would love to put this forward, but guys, there's 2 points that are going on the Twitter stream I want to talk about. First one, Carlin's great question about actually having resources. Video is great, but do we have resources? So my question to you guys, remember, hashtag is this, very simple. Is video worth the resources? Because I want to identify the problem. I personally think video absolutely is. When done well with someone who can focus on it and do it right, it is absolutely worth the resources. But what I need to figure out, hopefully with the help of you guys, do we all agree? Is it something where like all of us agree, but maybe the higher-ups don't get it? The people that control the budget or the positions don't see it as being relevant? Is it because we've been doing it so badly that folks want to do it, don't want to invest to do it correctly? My thought is that it's totally necessary to do video and have full-time people doing it. UCLA has a full-time YouTube person. Full-time. Really. That's crazy. I think it's awesome.
Lucky.
Agreed. And I'm not going to say every institution is like that. I'm not at all. But I think it's necessary, and I think the reason people aren't doing it right is because we're putting up bad content and we're not holding ourselves accountable. When you have the average YouTube educational video is less than 1,000 views, I'm not saying you need a lot of views. Again, I'm not. But if there's 1,000 views and no comments and no ratings, then there's a problem. Again, you don't have to hit the big. You can hit the long tail. I get that, but I just think that I think it's worth it though. Mallory, how has it been for you? I'm just curious. As video took off, how did you guys respond to it? This isn't something that you always did, right? This is something that's sort of self-taught. And are you given time and resources to do this? I'm just curious.
I guess I'm representing the small school in this conversation, right? You're representing the big school.
Yeah.
And at the small school, rarely will you find somebody who full time is working just on video. And if a school that's smaller, a private school or even a public one that's smaller has that, they're very, very lucky. And that's definitely not the norm as far as I have seen. Generally, that role is falling under somebody who has, someone who has the skills, and generally that can be the marketing department. But I was doing it from our admission office for a while, and so depending on which department that person's falling under, that's largely going to dictate, I think, the type of content that they're going to be creating. Obviously, if the only person creating video at your school is working for the admission office, they might not necessarily be thinking about going out and getting some really interesting labs from the biology department on, I don't know, I'm not a biologist, but I'm sure there's interesting things in that field. I I feel like the little amount of time that a smaller institution is able to focus on video needs to be time that is maximized and really well spent, which I think that doesn't always happen. And if YouTube were able to provide, and again, I'm going back to your idea, this idea of filtering the content so that it can only go into the academic area, then I'm going to know when I'm making that video that it's going to be seen by the audience who wants to see it. And that's going to help me, know what type of content to create for that. And I think that's going to be important going forward, keeping that academic content in mind and how to accurately filter it. And I want to make the point, though, before I kick it back over to you, that YouTube already lets us filter our videos. So this isn't a new concept to them. And so that's why I think, it could have success if they were to adopt it. I'm challenging them to do that.
I agree. And guys, again, if you have any other suggestions like that, send them along our way. I'm going to be putting a whole letter together and sending it out because I think the potential is here. The potential to be great is there. And I'll be honest, we haven't stepped up to the plate. And it's not fair. I'll say this. It's not fair to blame YouTube EDU because even if all these things were there, I think we'd still be putting out garbage. I'll be honest. But not everybody. And I'm going to hold this to a higher level. So here's the point, guys. Listen, YouTube EDU, it's not structured right, okay? I don't even know if YouTube's the best place for educational content, but there is a place in YouTube for educational content. So they need to work on that. But at the same time, we need to work on the content we're putting together. I think what we're putting out is not worthy of the names that stand behind it for our institutions. It is not worthy of the in-classroom experiences our students are having. And if you go back to your mission, I really think it's important not only to educate more people. I love that MIT does it with OpenCourseWare, but also mission-focused marketing. Telling the story of what you actually do at your university, not saying how pretty the buildings are and how awesome the food is in the dining hall, but also saying how great the faculty are. This has been something that's been going on in the tweet stream for a while now. It's about identifying great faculty, and this is so dead on. I can tell you this as a higher ed PR person. I absolutely latch on to those great faculty. There are some amazing, amazing faculty that don't just get what they teach in the classroom, but they get marketing, they get PR, they at least understand how to tell a story, and they are okay with being a part of it. And those are the people that you latch on to. So here's what I'm saying right now. I want to talk to Mallory about this. I want to talk to you guys about this. What works? What can you do right now on YouTube to make great content? I want us to make sure we all leaving thinking it's the same thing. So there's a couple things. I think putting up full courses on YouTube is fine if you already shoot them. And if you're a partner, you can. But let's be honest, long-term videos, that's not what it's all about at all. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys two things that work really well in my opinion. The first one is actually teach. This shouldn't be shocking. There's some of the most popular videos coming out of the Berklee School of Music is just their teachers actually teaching guitar lessons. This is amazing. They have millions of views on these videos, and I think it's for two reasons. Because one, it's educational. They're offering this for free. And two, it's reoccurring. And that's, I think, a really key thing with really good YouTube content is you can find a way to actually have something that's reoccurring, build an audience, keep people coming back all the time, providing them with new information. That's really good. And the second one is, guys, this is my all-time favorite higher ed YouTube video. I'm sending a link out right now. It's from Cambridge University. Now, I have to say, it's not flawless. This thing is about 5.5 minutes long. And I got to tell you, I think, I would say videos should be more than 3 to 5 minutes. I think Mallory would say even less. But this video is of a faculty member talking about research. And essentially his research is saying that we should be worrying less about turning light bulbs on and off and more about where the energy actually is coming from. Because it's incremental to unplug something from an outlet versus actually having a dialogue on how to change the way our culture consumes energy. But what they did is they followed this faculty member all around his house as he was measuring the energy levels of his iPhone adapter, of his toaster, and they told this amazing story. It was very well shot, I'll say, but these videos don't necessarily need to be incredibly well shot. But it was this great story of this researcher just walking through his house with this little tester, testing his toaster as he ate breakfast, testing his phone charger. I mean, it was just really clever. It's got a ton of views, and it did an amazing job of hammering home what his research is all about, and it was entertaining as heck. So to me, that's a staple that I look at is like, how can I actually take something that we're doing, whether you're a research-based institution or you're just, you're not, but you're still teaching, what the educational level is, how can you tell that story in a fun and entertaining way? People can do that. It's been done. Now the issue is how can we all replicate that and find new cool ways to do it? So that's me, but Mallory, what can we do right now, whether a YouTube EDU partner or not, to produce great content? I think we need to at least today say where the bar should be So that way next week when the majority of us miss it, we have something to point to.
Yeah, let's, I think we should give five things that make a great video. Is that a good number?
I like it. 5 is perfect.
All right. I'm going to say number 1 needs to be telling a good story. And that goes for whether or not your video is academic or athletic content or marketing content. That video needs to tell a story about something going on at your institution. I know that you're going to say that needs to preferably be educational, but you know, if I watch your video and I haven't learned something when I'm done, whether that be, you know, the story of your institution or something academic related, then I've just wasted 2 to 4 minutes of my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm in full agreement. I just think it's, you know, these things aren't that hard, right? I mean, this is just it's just that, I think, again, I mean, yeah, you tell a story. It has to be, I say, you're right, I say educational, but educational on some level, maybe not on the surface. It doesn't need to be in your face, but just tell it, and just mission-focused marketing. I know I throw that term around a lot, but base it on something at the end of the day with really what you're there for, why you're here. We're not all here, I mean, look, guys, we're not all here to have the world's best dining hall food and have the most amazing experience. Like, I'm not going to lie, that's cool. I mean, food's awesome, right? Like, but let's be honest, it's not why, at the end of the day, it's not why we're here. You know, short videos, be relevant and be entertaining. Like, you can entertain people in a fun way. That video, again, I sent a link out. I'm not saying it's amazing, but watch this Cambridge University video. It's my favorite, and I think it's just an example of how you can tell an amazing story in an entertaining way and totally utilize YouTube the way it's meant to be used. It's just telling a short, entertaining, awesome story about your institution, because that's what colleges and universities are all about, right? We're about hosting a dialogue and then letting other people continue to have it. We're about, you know, bringing together a conversation around something that's an important issue. And there's no way that we aren't doing this. Like, there's no reason we're not. Like, the platform is there. Our content is there. The only problem is we have this amazing content in our classrooms. We have YouTube, and we just haven't connected the dots yet. And it's like I said at the beginning, though, again, about, you know, Georgie and Rick's blog, about, you know, great content is the thread that ties it all together. And I just want to see us do more with YouTube. So that's why I want to talk about this today, guys. I just think that, you know, yes, YouTube EDU needs to change some things, and I want us to tell them on a technical level what they need to do, because I don't think they get what we're doing, and I think that maybe they will. And I just want to say, come on, like, let's step it up a little bit. Let's put stuff that people want to watch, because right now, YouTube EDU is like the dumping ground for content. It's like, you know, we'll show up with a camera, point it somewhere, and just throw it up, you know. And again, it goes into content in higher ed in general, but I'm hoping folks will kind of build their own outline, their own list of what they think needs to be included in great content, and kind of use that bar to put it out there. Because I think, you know, EDU could be amazing. It could be absolutely amazing, but it turned 2 last week, and flat out it's not.
You know what, Seth? I think you, when you go on your rants, for me, you are incredibly entertaining, and the passion really comes through when that happens. So I would have to say, you know, if prior to the rant, we were talking about maybe 5 ways to make great videos, and I think you just demonstrated how entertainment is one of those key points. See how I brought that back?
That was really good. That was good.
That
well
was
done.
good, right? And you even said it yourself a few moments ago that the video needs to be entertaining, and if it's not entertaining, no one's going to watch it, or at least they're going to start watching it and then they're going to leave. And boy, that's the last thing you want when you've spent all that time making, you know, this video. You know, don't have wasted your time by not making an entertaining video.
Yeah. At the beginning of a conversation, as I said, you know, this is an open dialogue today. This wasn't the kind of higher ed live show where we're trying to wrap everything up with a bow, give you guys great how-to lists on how to go out and do something. I think this is a conversation we need to have, not just on a larger level. We need to take this back to our institutions. We need to say, you know, what are we doing with video? I mean, I threw those stats out there, and again, I hate to judge a video based on views, but, you know, look at it. Look at the way video is being approached, and look at the resources being allocated, and look at what we're doing with it. It's just not working on a lot of levels. And, you know, again, my only takeaway today is, like, within your own institution, define what is success with YouTube EDU. You know, what do you plan to do and accomplish? And if you can define that, I think you'll agree that most institutions aren't there, but we all have the potential to be. And I think that's a really exciting thing. So we shouldn't look at it as a negative, even though a lot of today's kind of stuff was back and forth and a little bit negative. It's really meant to be a positive. I hope people take away that as a challenge to put something awesome together and to get people excited about it.
Yeah, you know what I just thought about, Seth? that this really just came to me that I was looking at the Twitter stream, and Nick Denardis said we publish a 1-minute scholar on YouTube. It's engaging, educational, and short, and he gave a link to that. And that reminded me that NPR does their academic minutes, and I wonder if any of our viewers or if you yourself are familiar with those. But I'm fairly certain that those are only audio, and they get streamed on on NPR. They're these very short 1-minute things. They're with faculty members, and they're talking engagingly about something that they teach that they're passionate about. And this is a similar concept to that that Nick's talking about, but just with video. And if NPR can do it with their academic scholar 1 minute, if Wayne State can do it, I think any of us can. And I think 1 minute might be all you need to do something that's short, mission focused, relevant, entertaining. As Carlin wrapped it all up in there in the Twitters, that's exactly what it's about. So if they can do it, if NPR can do it, so can we, higher ed.
Yeah, I mean,
do it now.
I'll say before, if Khan Academy could do it with 5 people and it started with 1 person, they can do it. I mean, again, Khan Academy has 17 of the top 20 algebra videos on YouTube. They're awesome. He's a great teacher. He's a great instructor, but come on, guys. 17 of the top 20. So, again, guys, we've covered all this stuff. It's about defining what success and what great content means to you and finding a way to reach it. So, the last thing I want to say to you guys today is please send along your favorite videos at any point to me at Higher Ed Live or at Seth Odell on Twitter. I really want to continue to highlight the content that works. I love, like you said, Mallory, that a lot of times reoccurring content works. Having a series of something makes sense. Whatever you're doing that you think you're doing well, let me know. This is going to be an ongoing dialogue. But if we hold ourselves to a higher standard, I think we can really accomplish some amazing things. So, guys, that is how Higher Ed Live has failed YouTube EDU and how YouTube EDU has failed us. I'm hoping the next time Mallory and I talk about this, maybe it's how we, succeeded or didn't fail quite so much, or how fail's a bad word. I don't really mean that, but, maybe talk about how the success stories in YouTube EDU. So, Mallory, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show and for keeping me sane and somewhat within the lines. I know it's a challenge, and I definitely appreciate it.
No problem. And Seth, I'm looking forward to taking over for you and walking a Sunday in your shoes next weekend. Evan Grenier is a friend of mine from Stonehill who works with their student bloggers. And as some of our viewers know, I also work with the student bloggers at St. Mike's. So I'm looking forward to having that discussion with him about what works in the student blogging world and how other schools can build a program. Absolutely. It's going to be a great topic. I'm really excited for you guys to talk all about it. It's a really interesting thing. It's going to, again, be back to some stuff that we do a lot at Higher Ed Live, where we're really going to go through a lot of point by point what you can do, what your options are, whether it works or not. It's going to be really, really, really action-packed because it's Mallory, and info-packed because it's a great topic. So thank you again for agreeing to come on and guest host that. So first guest host ever at Higher Ed Live. It's quite an honor, maybe. So I appreciate it. Cool. I appreciate it. So, Mallory, thank you so much again to you guys for watching. Thank you so much. Keep me posted with everything going on. And I got to one more time just give a nice shout out to our sponsors who make all of this possible. So thank you very much to Integral. Higher Ed Live, sponsored by Integral. They're the creators of the Schools app on Facebook. You can check out their webinar series about how they can help you leverage Facebook to increase yield and retention. That happens every Friday at 2 p.m. I'll send the link out again if you guys are interested. And also got a big shout out to our newest sponsor. Love the guys over there. Omni Update, the leading web content management system provider for higher education. The company's web CMS OU campus is secure and scalable with great tools and features, deployment flexibility, and an awesome user community. In fact, it was the highest ranked CMS in a customer satisfaction survey by EDU Guru in 2010. So if you guys are looking for a CMS, guys, I can't stress enough, Omni Update, amazing people. If you guys are looking to increase retention and yield, Integral, thanks to you guys. So thanks to both sponsors for making this all possible. But one more time, guys, thanks to you for tuning in each and every week. Higher Ed Live is something I love. I love being here. I love doing this for you guys. Get over to higheredlive.com. We have a weekly newsletter. We're trying to fill that with a lot of information, some giveaways, whatever we can do. So until next time, higheredlive.com. I've been Seth Odell. Thanks again to Mallory. Thanks again to you. Thanks to everybody. Love it. I'll see you guys on Twitter. All right. Take care, everybody.